You're listening to the only podcast that admits they might know what they are talking about.
I hope everyone has a ball.
This is We Might Know Sports. It's Stefan.
Well, I'll just go down there and punch him in the face.
Kevin. Gonzaga loses one game and you're threatening him every podcast now. And Corey.
No, he starts working out. Now he's a tough guy.
I am a tough guy.
Oh, he's got that testosterone flowing.
If anybody wants to listen to my podcast on fitness, this whole pizza in my mouth.
All right, and welcome to episode 22. I am your host, Kevin, joined as always by my co-hosts, Mr. Corey and Mr. Stefan. I think I'm on first names safer that way. We are recording this live on Monday, June 12th, and we record this live every Monday afternoon starting at 6 p.m. Eastern. And you can reach us via text or call if you want to watch us live, participate in this action. It's 425-780-6355 is the number. So go ahead and try and contact us. If you forget, the number's behind me. I got to work on getting you guys a sign, huh?
Nah. I'll put it in the recap. It'll be good.
The recap?
Yeah.
Fine with just the recap.
Yeah.
Stefan, the producer of our lovely recap. So if you have any problems with that, just ask him. It's his fault.
I'll take it. I'll take all the criticism.
I haven't had any problems with it yet, though, so I can't give you any criticism. Sorry.
That's good.
Stefan's repping the Gonzaga blanket, the red, white, and blue, I guess, for Flag Day. That's why I'm repping my U.S. hat. Corey, where's your red, white, and blue?
No patriotism.
You
Is it really Flag Day?
What?
No, it's
Is
Wednesday.
it really Flag Day? Oh, Wednesday.
Yes.
I knew that.
Other things happened on Wednesday, but that's not for this podcast. All right. So, a lot to get to. There's some playoff talk that we have. We can actually wrap up one of the leagues, and someone else spoiled a sweeping. We also are going to be talking about NASCAR, of course, and we're going to try and talk a little bit about golf. I don't know how prepared these guys are. I did a little research with the help of someone. We also can talk a little bit about the UFC and U.S. soccer rebounding from a terrible World Cup start. We'll talk about that towards the end of the show. But first, let's talk about my favorite sport to talk about, the NBA. I don't know about you guys. I'm loving this stuff.
Aren't you happy that it's going to be prolonged, Kevin? We have to talk about it more.
I think that's what made me most upset about the Cavs win in Game 4. But before we talk about Game 4, let's talk about Game 3 real quickly. Golden State ended up going into Cleveland and beating the Cavs 118-113. Some controversy in that game. Did you guys happen to catch Steph Curry pooping, it looked like?
I don't even know. Like, I watched the video and he wasn't even on the logo. So I think it's somebody. I think it's people blowing it up to be more than it actually is.
It seems like it's taken out of context. So it's like good editing or something.
Good editing. I mean, I guess.
Well, what do you think there, Kevin?
It's hard to tell. He claims he doesn't know what he's doing, but what do you mean you don't know what you're doing? You're doing something. It's not like you're stopping to take a breather. Not too many people take a breath like that. So
He could have been stretching.
Stretching what? His gluteus maximus?
Yeah. Stretching your quads, stretching your groin. I don't know.
Anything else I
Stretch.
can get out of Game 3?
Total meltdown by the Cleveland.
Cleveland should have won. It should be 2-2 right now, going back to Golden State.
Is it going to Golden State or is it?
It's Golden State tonight. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Now, does this series surprise you with the turnaround by the Cavs, though? I mean, last talk we had, game 1 and 2, it was pretty much Golden State all the way.
I would say it didn't surprise me because I took Cleveland to steal at least a game at home because I have Golden State in 5. I guess I was more surprised by it not coming out 2-2. Game 3 had just baffled me. I don't know how they let that lead go. All of a sudden they couldn't score in the last few minutes of the game, and Kevin Durant started hitting shots. Game 4, I think, is kind of an outsider because I don't think J.R. Smith and Kyrie and everyone is going to shoot that well, especially in Golden State. Your role players like J.R. and even Kyle Korver, they won't shoot that well on the road. So I kind of am looking to see Golden State wrap it up tonight.
Now, honestly, Cleveland's in the same spot they were last year. They lost the first 2 at Golden State, right?
Correct. By a lot.
And then they won. The only thing that's different is that they won game 3 and then lost game 4, where this time they lost game 3, won game 4. So, but obviously the big difference in this whole matter is that you've added Kevin Durant to the mix. But, I mean, even with them not shooting as lights out as they did in game 4 and game 3, they obviously competed very well in game 3. So I feel like they have a chance. I don't think they're going to go in there and obviously shoot like they did in game 4. But I think I give them a chance. I think that if they win tonight, I mean, that's going to make things real interesting for game 6 Thursday.
If this does go to game 7, am I going to have to talk about them for 2 weeks or is the series done after this week?
The series is done after this week.
Game 7 would be Sunday.
Yeah.
Okay. So no matter what, next episode is the last time I have to talk about the NBA until October.
No, because we have the draft.
Until the
right
draft.
Yeah, but that's a little bit different.
We're talking about college kids, I guess, at that point.
I mean, I'm not going to have to watch the NBA.
We have to talk about free agency.
I'll make one wild prediction and say if Cleveland wins tonight, it's going to 7.
I don't think that's that wild of a prediction.
I think a lot of people think Golden State, I mean, given any extra game, is always going to be the favorite. So, I mean, that's assuming they're going to lose 3 games in a row. What are the chances they do that?
What were the chances they did it last year when they had a better record?
But did they have a better team?
But they had a better record. So you tell me, is a better record equal a better team? I don't know.
I think they have a better team this year. I don't think a better record equals a better team.
All right, here's my question to you guys, conspiracy theorists that I am. Do you believe this might be fixed so that it goes to game 7? Because I saw an article last week that if Golden State had swept the series, they would miss out on like $22 million.
Yeah, it's true.
That was the conspiracy last year about Cleveland coming back to win it, to give one to Cleveland, which brought in a whole bunch of money, not only to Cleveland, but to the NBA in general.
Doesn't the NBA have like a convicted referee of fixing?
Oh, well, that was a long time ago, I think.
Was it?
I'm pretty sure it was.
It was a good 6 years ago, probably. 6 or 7 years ago.
If it's happened before, who's to
I don't
say
think
it hasn't happened?
It was because it wasn't even. he was like betting on games, or he was,
Yeah.
I don't know, he was doing something. He was obviously not a very good referee.
I think he was doing something with the over/under, and if it was close, he'd start calling more fouls. And
Yeah, I'm sure. But I think he was like involved, like he was like betting on the games or something, or he was making money off of it or something.
He was the Pete Rose of refereeing.
He was obviously a very crooked referee.
I think he's in jail now for a little bit.
I would assume he's got to be in jail. They don't take too kindly to that kind of stuff.
All right, do you guys want to throw a prediction out for tonight?
Golden State 120 to 109.
I'm going to take Cavs. Cavs 117, 113.
And I hope Golden State wins. I don't even care about the score. I just want Golden State to win.
You don't really mean that.
I only want to see one more game. That way I only have to talk about one more game. That's all I want to. Plus, I just don't like LeBron, so the more airtime he gets, the less happy I am. So
how can you not like LeBron? What did he ever do wrong?
His attitude, his whole Miami deal. That's why I don't like LeBron. It's because of Miami.
If he just stayed in Cleveland the whole time, you'd be a fan?
No, if he just didn't have the decision on ESPN.
Okay, yeah, and he apologized for that. Like, you can't get past that? That's your one thing?
Nope.
He even admitted that. He even admitted if he could go back in time and do that all over again, he would not do the decision. And it wasn't even that bad of a thing because he donated like a ton of money to like a children's foundation or something.
He recently just opened a school for children with learning problems.
Like, he's such a shitty guy, isn't he? He's terrible.
Yes.
What an asshole.
That is why I'd rather cheer for an actual known asshole in Michael Jordan and consider him the best of all time.
That's fine. Michael Jordan can be.
How is he even a known asshole? Just because people say he is? That he's an asshole to work for?
Well, it's known that he's not exactly the greatest off the court.
But you're talking about him off the court now?
Even in general.
In general? I don't know. I've never met the guy, so I'm not going to have any judgment on him.
All right, let's get off of NBA. We'll save it for a whole nother day because we've got another podcast to look forward to. Woo! All right, let's go on to my second favorite sport to talk about, the NHL. The NHL finally ended, unfortunately for us, Stefan. But before we reveal, spoiler alert, Game 4, sorry, misreading my notes. Game 4, Nashville gave us hope, Stefan. They won 4-1, tying the series at 4-4. Did you watch any of these Stanley Cups?
I watched the game I watched last night's game. I watched a bunch of games, actually.
The only game I watched was last night's.
Last night's game I was very disappointed with.
Before we talk about last night, let's talk about Game 5. Pittsburgh won 6-0, but it was full of controversy. Crosby was caught slamming someone else's head into the ice in the game. The refs didn't do much about it. I think he just got a 5-minute penalty at most. I mean, if the NHL is taking concussions so seriously, why is their number one athlete getting away with moves like that?
You just answered that in the same statement.
Because not only did he do that in the same game, he threw a water bottle and he claimed it slipped out of his hand onto the ice. So, I mean, a lot can be said when you're the number one person. So it's kind of like Tom Brady and how he gets his sack treatment, I guess.
There's more to Sidney Crosby, though. Like a lot of the other players in the league have said that he has an immature personality and he's done lots of baby-like stuff on the ice before throughout his career. He's pretty much only respected by his peers because of his winning, is from what I've read and what I gather.
So Pittsburgh ended up winning the series 4-2 after winning last night, and he wins the Stanley Cup MVP for the third time. But with actions like that, does he deserve to win the MVP? I mean, in my opinion, he doesn't.
Was he the best player?
Not when you're doing things like that, you're not the best player. No.
Was he the most talented player out there?
No, he wasn't, because he was slamming another dude's head on the table.
What's that got to do with talent? Maybe he was the least classy player out there. Yeah,
he shouldn't be out there if he's doing that. He should have been ejected from the game.
Did he? But how can you put that on the people that are voting or whatever? I don't know how they decide who gets the MVP, but it's not their fault that the refs didn't kick him out of the game.
Corey, you're awful quiet.
I thought he deserved it. Just simply, he was probably the most productive player. I don't think talent really would come into the equation for giving someone MVP. If you're going to do that, LeBron 7 years in a row should be the Finals MVP. He's the most talented player every single time he's out there.
But do you think his actions in Game 5 should prevent him from winning it?
No.
Well, I guess I'm wrong. I don't think it warrants it. If you can't have good sportsmanship on the ice, conduct yourself like a professional athlete and not do these Bush League type activities, you shouldn't be being rewarded with just because you're a better player. That's how athletes like LeBron James pop up and have the decision.
Jordan pushed Brian Russell in the finals against the Utah Jazz. So should he get the MVP?
He didn't push.
No, he didn't.
It wasn't a push off.
I see an extension of the arm. An extension of the arm. And Brian Russell continue moving in that direction. That's a push.
Can I just say one thing, that Michael Jordan is the most talked about athlete on our podcast that is not in our notes.
It comes up at least once every podcast.
This is true. If you guys want to see our notes, I don't know. I think he's just the most relatable athlete, and that's why he's definitely going to be in that top 5, I think.
Yeah.
The top 50 that we talked about last week.
I think he's one of the closest there is as to a consensus great of a sport. I don't think there's another athlete in another sport. Maybe Wayne Gretzky. I'd say they're the two.
Yeah, try and think of one for football.
Right, it's impossible. And baseball, and there's too many.
I could probably think of the greatest cricket player ever.
What about NASCAR?
The greatest NASCAR? I think you have people who tell you it's Richard Petty from the older era, but then you'd have people who tell you that it's Jimmy Johnson from the newer era. And in the middle, in the 80s and 90s, you're going to have people say it was Dale Earnhardt. His time was cut. His time was cut too short. He would have broke all the records.
You got Gordon, too.
You have Gordon, too. I just think Gretzky and Jordan seem to be consensus the greatest in their two sports. You have someone who's kind of creeping in there now, the LeBron debate. Gretzky probably is. I mean, I don't know anyone who's creeping in on that debate.
Sidney Crosby.
If he wins maybe 2 more.
All right, I think let's go into your realm of boxing, Corey. What about Muhammad Ali?
So I think the general public thinks he's the greatest. I think the diehard boxing fans don't think that.
Who is the greatest, Corey?
In my opinion,
Yeah.
I'm the greatest.
Sugar Ray Robinson was the greatest on my board.
Did he go 49-0?
No, I don't think that means anything. He won 100. He won 129-0. How about that? And then he lost finally.
All right. So I guess let's move off of the greatest topic, and we'll leave Michael Jordan alone for now. But I do have a question for both of you. Seeing how you guys had to watch NHL, or at least attempt to, did you guys pick up any more interest in it? Or are you going to be following it a little more closely, other than just because of the podcast next year?
It's hard. Like I've got to get like a favorite team, I guess, and then I probably would follow it more. I do get a lot more interested in it during the playoffs. I've watched it in the playoffs before we even started the podcast, and I do enjoy it. But I feel like it's like baseball, where I don't have the interest that I do for like football and basketball to watch it during the season.
What about you, Corey?
I'm kind of in the same boat. Seems like playoff time is when I'll start to watch it and pay closer attention. But since we have done the podcast, I've been paying attention to more of the other teams. Like I told you guys, I pay attention a little bit to the Blues and the Penguins, just because my dad did. And beyond that, I didn't really. So this year I paid a little more attention to some of the others. I have to pay attention to Nashville. I didn't even know they were a team until this year. So.
Wow, that hurts. I've always loved the Predators just because of their color scheme. Went with my high school colors, and the fact that
Nobody likes
Predators.
Western, so shut up.
Wow.
How to silence a host.
Throwing daggers for no reason.
So, did you watch the game last night, Kevin?
I watched the first two periods, and then I kind of fell asleep because I was recovering from the night before. So I just saw the final score.
What did you guys think of that that Nashville goal that got called back or wasn't allowed? You guys know what goal I'm talking about?
It was by an errant whistle, right?
Yeah. So they blew the play dead before it was actually dead, and Nashville scored, but who knows, because they blew the whistle, so whether it would have actually gone in or whatnot. I get from my understanding, the rule is that if the ref can't see the actual puck, they're supposed to blow it dead. But from what I've heard from different analysts and players and stuff, is that it was a very quick whistle, where usually they give it a little bit more time to kind of develop and make sure that it's actually a dead play or whatever. So I thought Nashville got screwed out of it. That obviously could have changed the whole aspect of the game. They would have been up 1-0. Obviously, you don't know how it would have played out from then, but if it had played out the same way, they would have at least probably gone overtime. So I think Nashville kind of caught the wrong end of the deal there. Did you see it, Corey?
No, I didn't see that play. I don't know where I was at that time.
Well, I have the video pulled up if you want to see it.
Ooh, let's watch it.
I gotta remember how to do this. Hold on.
All right. Well, you do that. Nashville did win a lot of face-offs in the final game, but Pittsburgh had a lot of takeaways. Nashville also gave the puck away more. That's it for stats from Kevin. How are you looking on that video, Stefan?
It's coming up. It's up now, right? Ready?
Ready.
Tabs you have open, Jesus.
Don't worry about it.
This is thrilling without the sound, by the way.
You can't hear it?
No.
I don't know how to change that. How do I get it so the sound plays? You do this shit all the time.
Yeah, because I had to download stuff here. Send me the link.
Oh my god.
Well, if you're gonna pull this stuff,
Well, I was trying to, take initiative here.
I got it.
All right. That's the last time I ever tried to do anything.
Oh, wrong game. Send me the link.
Oh my god. But it was a very fast whistle. As you will see here.
You need a website. What?
I do
Hopefully.
not.
Oh yeah, at least we've got some volume now. Maybe?
It's better
we
be
got
one
video?
hell of a video.
We've committed ourselves now.
Puck stays in. Forsberg with a shot. Murray's got it. No, he doesn't, but the whistle is gone. The puck
I hear it. I don't see it.
So even the announcer said so. That
Did you see it, Corey?
go first.
No. But the audio was terrific.
We didn't see it, Kevin.
Yeah, I know. I can only pull up one thing at a time.
Oh.
to Auburn. Puck stays in. Forsberg with a shot. Murray's got it. No, he doesn't, but the whistle is gone.
So it's
The
clear
puck came loose,
that
was poked in the net, but even in this
whistle
building, you
happened
could hear
first.
the whistle went when the puck was outside of the crease.
Yeah, what a bad break for the Nashville Predators. Kevin Pollock getting
so it's definitely just a bad ref move, I guess. I don't know. It happens all the time. I think we've already discussed, but they obviously had many more opportunities. It wasn't like it was their only opportunity. They had 27 shots and they didn't score one other goal. So
I don't know. I mean, it was obviously a very tight game. Nobody scored until like a minute something left in the game, or like 2 minutes left, I think. So obviously, I mean, that game could have gone either way. I think that was a big, like you said, they did have their opportunities, but had that have counted, it could have changed the game drastically. But that's all hypothetical. Maybe if they had made that, Pittsburgh would have got pissed off and scored like 5 goals. Who knows? Never know what the hell would have happened.
all right. So the Penguins are the champs. You guys want to throw anyone out there for next year's champs? Early predicts?
No.
Washington Capitals.
I'm going to say the Anaheim Ducks.
I'm going to own with the Pittsburgh Penguins. Till
Three-peat?
Crosby retires. Till
Go for
Crosby.
the repeat. Huh?
No way.
All right. So let's move on to our next subject, NASCAR. It's always a thrilling subject. Corey's reign of terror continues. So, Corey, do you want to review what happened at Poconos?
Who like call it Panico?
Besides Jimmy Johnson's brakes giving out on him at 200 miles per hour and crashing hard into the wall, and Jamie McMurray having the same thing happen, and then his car went up in flames, I would say those were the two exciting points until the very end when there was a restart to finish the race. Kyle Busch was in the lead at that point. Ryan Blaney was in second place and Kevin Harvick in third. And Ryan Blaney was able to outmaneuver Kyle Busch and take his first win in 68 races. This is his second year in NASCAR. That was big news for him. He's widely viewed as one of the young guns of NASCAR. And then the other big deal was Darrell Wallace Jr. being the first African-American driver. This was his first race since 2006. He was the last time there was an African-American driver in NASCAR. So that was a big deal.
So, Corey, you picked Kurt Busch. I picked Truex Jr. and Hamlin. What was Stefan's pick? And after we all had 3 weeks one, you've won the last 3 going into Michigan.
Cheater.
Who should we pick to keep up with you?
Give us some tips here, Corey.
I think you guys have we've all used Chase Elliott. He's actually the best driver at Michigan going into Michigan, so you can throw him out. Brad Keselowski is very good at Michigan. Kyle Larson has just been on a tear all year. I don't know if you guys have both used him. He's probably the best driver this year besides him and Truex. Pick either or. I am going to go out on a limb and pick Ryan Newman this week. He has won there twice. He's kind of an outsider.
All right. I'm going to ignore your advice and pick someone different then. I'm going to go with Kevin Harvick. He's been hit or miss this year, but I've been doing pretty decent lately. So just as long as I don't get that 1 point guy, like Stefan unfortunately had happen with Chase Elliott. So,
and I earlier in the year,
you're due for a 1-pointer, Kevin.
You wish.
Oh, what's happening? I'm going to follow Kevin's strategy from last week, and I'm going to take the pick that Corey had the week before. I'm going to go with Kurt Busch.
You already... no, you didn't.
Nope, I used Kyle Busch. All right, second, right there. Come at me, bro.
Is Michigan known for crashes, Corey?
No, but it is a faster track, so a lot of your drivers that like to just put the pedal down will do well there.
All right.
Hopefully Kurt Busch.
Kurt Busch is one of those drivers. That's why Pocono is a similar race. That's why I knew to pick him there.
Good. That's what I like to hear.
Although Pocono is the triangle, the only track that is a triangle.
When's our first road course?
Sonoma, right after Michigan.
All right, so next.
Yep.
2.
Not this Sunday, but the following.
And have I used them yet? Oh, I did. All right, never mind. My strategy's out the door for that. So, all right. So we'll make our picks for that next week. But I'm feeling confident in my Michigan pick, and I hope Steffens gets him 1 point again.
Nope. Probably going to get the highest point total of all weeks. Maybe a first 60-pointer.
Just to take first place back.
Yep. Feeling it.
All right. Now our next subject is the U.S. Open Golf Edition. That is happening this weekend in Erin Hills, Erin, Wisconsin, which is just north of Milwaukee, I believe. It is going to be the longest in U.S. Open history at 7,741 yards, including a 675-yard last hole.
Doesn't sound too bad.
Now, before we talk about the actual tournament itself, did you guys happen to hear that at one of the qualifiers, a golfer was forced to withdraw after his airline lost his golf clubs at the qualifier?
I did not. Was it Tony Romo?
Nope.
Oh.
It was Michael Buttacavoli, I believe is how he pronounces his last name.
Buttacavoli.
Yeah.
But if he could only.
And if you want to know what airline was the one that lost his clubs, it was American Airlines. So it wasn't United this time.
United catches a break.
United finally staying out of the headlines. They're probably just like, thank God somebody else can screw up too.
American Airlines did reach out on Twitter to tell him that they want to reunite him as quick as possible with his bag, but it was too late. He already withdrew, and then he went on to say you just needed to do your job in the first place.
Touche.
And then American Airlines responded, "This wasn't the experience we had planned for you. Our sincerest apologies." In which he replied, "Priority tags are meaningless. Told you 100 times. Stop apologizing. Don't need sympathy or you to be PC. Just do better. You have yet to show that." So it's very interesting to see this, and other golfers weighed in, and they felt for him. I mean, Nick Gayer, I don't know exactly where he is in the golf world, but I know he's a golfer, and he said, "Sorry, brother. I feel like there needs to be 500,000 miles coming your way or something. That's ridiculous." I think free flights for life, I mean, or something to make up for that. Like, you're that close to the U.S. Open, and because they lost your bags, I mean, I guess it happens to almost everyone at some point in time, just wrong place at the wrong time type deal.
Yeah. It was just a bad coincidence. Bad timing.
Bad timing. Do you guys want to put a wager on who you guys think is going to win the U.S. Open?
What are we waging?
We'll keep it simple. Beers.
Beers when you come out.
How do you know we all think someone different's going to win?
Because we'll see.
Because once somebody gets picked and I get to go first, you can't use them again.
Okay, go first. Who is it?
Okay, go ahead.
You called it.
I don't even have to go first because I don't think anybody's
All right, hold on a second.
What?
Now, let's discuss this wager. I think how we're going to do it is if our pick doesn't actually win, the highest placing player. How about that?
Sounds fair. What
So
happens
you
if
win
there's a
beer
tie?
either way.
If there's a tie,
Best
two-way tie?
round score.
best third round score?
First.
What you say? Oh, first round.
And if that's a tie, then second, and then third,
All right.
and then fourth.
Sounds fair.
All right. So, Stefan, go ahead. We'll give you the floor because I'm pretty sure you didn't pick my guy.
I'm going with
Ready on deck.
I'm trying to figure out
Phil
who.
Mickelson and Tiger Woods are in this.
I was trying to figure out who Kevin picks. I want to guess who he picked.
I got it from a source.
Oh, I got it from a source. I'm going to take Jason Day.
Jason Day.
Yep. That's what I said.
Vegas
That's
has
what-
him-
Vegas.
Huh?
Vegas thinks he's the third odds-on favorite.
So what are you laughing about, Kevin?
Sorry, go ahead.
I'm going to go with Vegas's favorite and take Dustin Johnson.
That's a safe pick. He's definitely the odds-on favorite. I know I was told to probably pick him, but I'm not. I'm going with my source's dark horse for the tournament, Justin Thomas, who came in 32nd last year in the U.S. Open. But because of his power, I think this course is going to suit him in his long-range driving ability to get those pars.
That's why I went with Dustin, because he's averaging the longest drive.
So I think it's fair.
You got to finish it once you get there.
You don't think Dustin's short game is going to get him through?
No.
Did you see the roughs at Aaron Hill, Stefan?
I did not.
They're about
look good?
deep.
Pretty rough.
Good.
Yeah.
Pretty clean roughs, huh?
Pretty clean roughs. It kind of reminds me of that one time we went golfing at that course that I believe we shot 30 over par, or our normal pars, I should say. Do you know which one I'm talking about? It was
No,
like
I have no
links
idea.
that whatever.
Fairmount putt. You guys.
Oh, the
really
one in
good.
Marcellus?
Yeah.
The links at Sunset Ridge?
Hey,
That one?
no advertising.
The one where they had wasn't there a green that was you had to hit it over this ravine? You remember that? No? All right.
No.
Never mind.
I do not.
Either way, I don't think I made it to the green, regardless.
Yeah. I
Um,
just remember us in the rough a lot.
yeah,
because-
I'm sure.
And they were all 2 feet tall. So
When have I ever not spent a lot of time in the rough? Is the real question.
when you beat me, that's usually when you don't.
Which is a lot, pretty much every time I play you now.
Lately, yes.
Yes.
How'd those first 10 go?
We don't worry about the first 10. It's about where you're at now. I don't live in the past, Kevin.
So,
I'm all about the present.
yeah, okay.
Presently kicking
How's
your
Looking
ass.
like a true Eagles fan.
Super Bowl champs this year, baby.
Okay, Bengals. Okay.
All right. On to another.
No, wait. I'm not talking about golf, okay?
Go
Now,
on.
here's a question. What would you think that well, I'll let you predict what I would shoot at Aaron Hills for one round.
140
140
at least.
at least. So you'd be in the 150, 160 range.
No, I'd be right around there. I can drive. I just can't putt.
Now, does anyone want to take a guess on what Corey would be shooting?
200.
I was gonna say 220.
Is there a tap out?
A lot of people don't go higher than a snowman or a 9. So in that case, you'd shoot 80,
180.
180. That's what I meant to
There
say.
you go. You're close enough.
No, he's only gonna play 8 holes and he's out. Call it a day.
Oh,
No, we should do a putt battle.
More to come.
What?
A putt-putt
Said
battle.
more to come.
You don't want this anymore?
Corey, you don't even like playing putt-putt. He hates playing
It's gonna
putt-putt.
get real serious in August. We're gonna be very busy. All right, let's move on to the French Open. Corey, I got to read my Wall Street Journal today for the first time in the 3 weeks that I've had the paper subscription. I finally got the paper edition, and this was on the cover. Mr. Nadal winning his 10th. 6-2, 6-3, 6-1. Did you catch any of that?
Yes, I did. I wanted to see history.
Was this expected?
This was expected. This was my pick, as people who watched our previous podcast would know, to win this tournament. Nadal is healthy. He's made it to the finals of both majors now. He's also only the second player ever to win 3 or more majors without dropping a set. So he's also been very dominant at the French Open this year. My dark horse that I had, Dominic Thiem, gave him a little bit of a challenge, but that was about just the first set as that went into a tiebreak. And then when he made it to the final against Stan Wawrinka, he dominated. I think it's interesting that Roger Federer and Rafa Nadal are the 2 people who hold majors this year. Wimbledon should be very interesting because Roger will be back. He took the clay season off. And Roger's best surface is grass, so I think it's leading up to another Rafa-Roger final, if that's possible, if they're on opposite sides of the bracket. We'll see where their draws are.
Now, Wimbledon starts in July, correct?
Correct.
All right. And then on the women's side, I'm going to need some assistance pronouncing her name. She was
Ostapenko?
Yes. Wasn't she your dark horse for this?
No, she wasn't. I was telling Stefan outside of the podcast, I would have never thought that she was even going to beat Wozniacki. Once she got by Wozniacki, though, I thought she would win because I'm not a big Simona Halep fan. I wasn't very confident in her. I had her actually losing her match, too, to, I think, Basinski. So I was very surprised with the final and definitely surprised with the total outcome of the women's tournament. They're so hard to predict if Serena Williams and Maria Sharapova aren't in the bracket. It's wide open from there on out.
When does Sharapova return?
She was just banned from this particular tournament. The French wouldn't let her in. Yeah, she can play in other ones.
Just because she tested positive or for a known...
It had to do because she was out for so long. Your seeding is based on your points throughout the year, and she hadn't accumulated any points, so she really didn't deserve a seed unless she was in as a wild card, and they weren't just going to give her a spot. So that's how that all worked out. Whereas other tournaments would give her a wild card spot just because of the name. It would draw the money to the event. Basically, the French said, screw you, we don't need your name.
We don't need your stinking name. So is she going to be back in Wimbledon?
I think she'll be back for Wimbledon, yeah.
And do you think she's going to at least compete, or do you think it might be a second or third round exit for her?
I think she has a shot at the quarters, which would be the Sweet 16. If anything beyond that, I think would be surprising even to her. I just don't think she has enough tennis under her belt yet.
You think she just has to get back to game speed?
Yeah, I think she'll be the best player in the world by the end of the year if she plays enough. That's assuming Serena doesn't come back this year, obviously.
Right.
Might be a little hard for her to return that quickly. It's a quick turnaround.
Yeah, it would be a quick turnaround.
Your favorites going into Wimbledon. I know you briefly talked about it. Do you think Who do you think is going to win, Federer?
Yeah, Roger's always my favorite on grass unless I find out he's hurt or something. I think he's the greatest grass player ever. I know there's some debate with him or Pete Sampras. Djokovic is very talented on grass, but there seems to be something off with his game. And like I said, I think the way Nadal is playing right now, he's almost unstoppable, except it appears if Federer is healthy. So I would say those three. Andy Murray's always, I mean, he's the number one player in the world. He's won Wimbledon before. It is his home. He has a chance there, but he just seems a little off this year too. To me, it's the year of Nadal. So we'll see. If I'm picking Federer, but I wouldn't shock me if Nadal won.
And then female-wise, any predictions, or is it too much of a toss-up with?
For the women's, I will go with Kvitova, Petra Kvitova. Why not? She's won there twice. She's good on grass. Angelique Kerber is the number one player in the world. She doesn't really impress me except on hard courts. So we'll see what happens, I guess.
All right. So we'll see. And we'll probably touch base back when Wimbledon actually starts, which I believe is July 4th weekend, right?
Could be. I don't know the exact date, but could be.
Okay. Moving on to my favorite subject, actual favorite subject to talk about, MMA. Something's happened this past weekend. UFC Hunt versus Lewis happened, actually, in fact. Lewis, you may remember back in, I believe, March, fought Travis Brown and had his memorable press conference after the fight where he said he just got a boo-boo and had to poop and was wondering where Ronda Rousey's fine ass was after the fight. He was
the guy that entered one of your favorite fighters list?
Yes.
Okay.
He going into this this past weekend's fight, he was the number 6 fighter in the heavyweights, and it was against number 7 Hunt, who at that point I believe was like on like a 3 or 4 loss streak. A couple of them may have been popped for PEDs, including a famous one called Brock Lesnar. And so this was actually in New Zealand, which is where Hunt is from. Kind of home field advantage, I guess you could say. I thought the fight may have ended a little too soon, but Lewis looked gassed, so I don't think even if it did continue, Lewis would have won. So I don't have too much of a complaint, I guess, with the quick ending because he ended it, or it was ended because of no defense. But, I mean, he was just gassed at that point. I don't think he has ever fought in a 5-round fight, and this was round 4 that he got knocked out in. So it's unfortunate. It's a little bit of a setback, but he's still young, especially in the heavyweight division where I think they go till they're 85 or something. So we'll see what happens.
Was Lewis losing the fight, in your opinion, before they called it?
Yeah, kind of. I mean, I may have given him 1 round, but it'd be very hard to say any way other because he was taking a lot of shots from Hunt.
Right.
So I'm really sad to see that result. I would have liked to see him on a pay-per-view at some point. There's a lot of them coming up in July that we'll talk about next month, including the July 8th card and the July 28th card, I believe. Whatever one, John Jones Cormier. Still at 65% for those of you wondering. I'm keeping it at just passing. I think as long as, and I'm saying 65% because I feel like if it doesn't happen, it's not going to be because Jones fails a test. It's going to be either because of an injury to Cormier or Jones or Cormier not making weight. So we'll see. 65 until Cormier makes weight, and then it goes up to 80 until it actually happens. Is what I'm saying for now.
Jones can still fight him even if he doesn't make weight, right?
Yeah, but it
He
won't
he could sign something, but it won't be for the belt.
No.
Do you think that he would still fight him if he didn't make weight?
You know what? I don't know how it all works because I think he deserves a belt if he makes weight and Cormier doesn't. I mean,
right
at that point, Corey, how does it work in the boxing world? Corey?
Thanks, Corey.
I lost you for a second.
How does it work in the boxing world if a fighter comes in overweight in a championship fight?
The belt just isn't on the line. They can fight if they choose to, but the belt is no longer on the line for the I should say the champion automatically loses his belt, but if he wins, the belt is lost. It is up. It is up. He no longer holds it. If the challenger wins, then he gets the belt, but it basically becomes unavailable to the champion.
I think
what if they decide not to fight?
If they decide not to fight, then that's it. It's off.
Does he still lose the belt for not making weight?
No.
That's why normally the challenger will always try to go through with it, even if he's at a gross disadvantage, because there's still a chance.
Right.
Coming up this weekend, if you're looking for something to do at 8 a.m. Eastern, 5 a.m. Pacific, you can watch UFC Singapore, where it's Holm versus I can't even say her last name, Correa. It's a battle. The main event and the co-main event are battles of people who are not on winning ways, that's for sure. It's Holm, who's won none in her last 3, I believe. She's on a 3-fight losing streak versus this Correa, who is last match was a draw. The one before that was a win, and then lost the 2 before that. So she hasn't been on a winning way. And then the co-main event is Orlovsky versus Tybura. Now for Orlovsky, he has lost his last 4, but I mean, they're to Josh Barnett, Overeem, and the current champ, Miocic, are 3 of them. Plus Nagano, who's also, I mean, you're looking at top 5 fighters in all 4 matchups. So it's just battle of top 5s. I think he'll win it by knockout in second round. That's my early prediction. And Holm, also earlier this week, mentioned that she is open to return to fight in the featherweight division. I don't know if you guys remember me talking about de Randamie running away from her belt in 145.
Yes.
Finding out she was going to fight Cyborg.
Oh, yeah.
She said she'd rather give it up. Well, Holm might be the contender, so we might get to see that fight after all, even though Holm was easily probably should have won that fight with some non-New York MMA refereeing.
Maybe, possibly
should have. All right. Now,
don't be hating on the hometown, man.
I hate because they need to get their shit together. Moving on to U.S. soccer. They had 2 games this past weekend for World Cup qualifying, and they got 4 points. A good change of pace after being in last place after their first 2 games. They've quickly recovered with this new old, I guess you could call Bruce Arena, former, now current United States manager. They are now currently in third place, which would qualify them for the World Cups. However, Costa Rica is playing Panama, and Honduras and Trinidad Tobago play tomorrow. Now, the U.S. drew Mexico down in Mexico last night. I don't know if you guys watched that game. Did you guys happen to catch any of that game?
No,
No.
not.
Okay. Well, there was an impressive goal by the U.S. in the first 5 minutes, and they had the lead for about 17 minutes before Mexico came back to tie it. So they got a point out of that game. They won 2-0 against Trinidad Tobago earlier last week, and that leaves them in third. And if Panama wins, then they'll drop back down to fourth. However, their chances of qualifying for the World Cup are pretty high with remaining matches against bottom teams Honduras and Trinidad Tobago in the fall. So chances are still looking pretty good. Fingers crossed that they'll go play in Russia, depending on what happens with Putin and Trump, but that's a different podcast.
Tune in to our all political podcast Wednesdays
Every
at 9.
Friday. Moving on to some NFL breaking news I saw before we started the podcast. Jeremy Maclin signed a 2-year deal with the Baltimore Ravens. How does this help Baltimore, Stefan?
Well, it gives Joe Flacco a target. I don't know who he even has anymore.
Not since Steve Smith retired. He doesn't have anything.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure it was Jeremy Maclin was choosing between Buffalo and Baltimore, and in my opinion, I believe he made a wiser choice going with Baltimore. Flacco, I believe, is a better quarterback than Tyrod Taylor. He's more proven. He's
Super Bowl champion.
He's a Super Bowl champion. I think he's got a better arm, probably more accurate. I feel like Baltimore is probably closer to making a playoff run. I don't know about Super Bowl, but at least a playoff run than Buffalo. I do feel like if he had gone to Buffalo, it would have given them a pretty good chance of making the playoffs this year, but now without him, they have Sammy Watkins and then a bunch of unproven nobodies after that. So, and Sammy Watkins can't stay healthy. So, I'm sorry, Bills fans, but it looks like you're going another year without playoffs. Shout out to the Bills fans. We love you.
Hashtag no.
Hashtag no.
Trending.
Hashtag trending. Bills fans. Call us.
All right. Let's move on to Major League Baseball real quick. Did you guys happen to catch the headline from 2 days ago about Nationals GM giving Baltimore shit for complaining about having to play in DC for a one-off makeup game?
No.
They're not.
So for those of you geographically impaired, Baltimore is literally 40 miles away from DC. And the manager of the Baltimore Orioles and the GM complained about having to play this one-off game in Washington, D.C. And the D.C. general manager basically replied that there's no excuses because they won 6-1 over Baltimore after coming off of a 9-game West Coast trip. So they traveled 3,000 miles to play this one-off game. and still ended up beating Baltimore, who traveled 40 miles for this one-off game. So, I mean, I get that there's rain delays. Now, to be fair, the rain delay game was like not really rained out. They just postponed it because they thought it was going to continue raining, and then the rain stopped. But it is what it is. I mean, you got to play the game, and trying to use travel as an excuse for losing is really weak excuse, especially when it's only 40 miles away. A lot of those players played in the minor leagues where they travel on buses everywhere. Right. So I think it's just a weak excuse.
Especially nowadays, travel's not really a good excuse. I mean, you can pretty much get anywhere in the U.S. in, about 8 hours or so.
All right.
I mean, that's not even using I mean, they probably have like private planes and shit. So.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to our fantasy baseball. We haven't talked about that in a little while. Did you guys catch?
It's still going on?
Yeah.
Holy shit! I won 7-3.
Yeah. And yet you're still 34 games back from first place. Corey and I are ended up tying this week, so we're still 5.5 apart. And then the other two are just kind of towards the bottom, not really paying attention, apparently.
I'll make the playoffs, though, so that's what matters. Make that playoff run.
Going to turn it around come playoff time?
Yep.
One of your players hit the longest home run ever recorded, Aaron Judge.
I know.
496.
Well, since they've started recording it, yeah.
Correct. And I saw 3 out of the top 5 longest homers ever hit were by Giancarlo Stanton.
Jeez.
Guy's a beast.
Yeah, that Aaron Judge there, he's a fucking monster.
Stefan, what's your strategy? Are you just like gonna get the right line?
What do I got here? How many weeks we got left? I got quite a few weeks left, don't I?
Got until October.
12 more.
Yeah. Dude, I'm just going to slowly chip away. Every month I'm going to gain about 10 games.
That means you got to win more than once a month, though.
All right, so every month I'm going to gain about 3 games. No, 5 games. We'll give it 5 games. And then slowly chip my way back up there, and I'm probably going to be in the middle of the pack by the time playoffs come around. You know, 3rd or 4th. 2nd, 3rd, or 4th place.
Wow.
And then
this
at that point
from the text line, hashtag Stefan suck my
hashtag Stefan suck my what?
Bill's dick.
Wow.
Wow, and angry Bills fans.
Angry Bills fans.
Eat.
Hashtag, what is it, 18 years and counting?
Music City Miracle. All right. I believe we have
hashtag bring back those. Shuffle.
Can't wait because I have no idea what this is about.
Perfect.
You already know what it's about. All I know is I am fucking drenched right now. I gotta figure something out. This is awful.
It's a little warm up
All
there.
right. A little bit warm up here. Holy shit.
Heat rises. Imagine that.
Yeah.
I should probably actually just, instead of going to work out, just chill up here, and I'll lose about
Do
30 pounds in a week. This is god awful.
What's the current temperature?
I don't even know.
You don't have a thermometer?
Outside? No, I don't have a thermometer up here. Outside, I think it's like 86, so it's probably like pushing 100 in here at least. It's gotta be. I had this fan going, but I turned it off. All in favor of the podcast. Oh yeah, we're doing this. Is that my cue to get going on this?
It's your segment. Do whatever.
Well, all right. So Stefan's totally awesome, totally biased, totally on topic. Top 5. I don't know if anybody else saw the clip of this arena football touchdown celebration. Did you see that, Corey?
No.
No, you didn't. Kevin, do you want to pull it up or no?
I got it.
All right.
I'm prepared for
All
this.
right. So I saw this.
Send me the
this
video.
little clip. Yeah. I did. What? Yeah, I sent you the video.
When you send me the video, I can be prepared for it.
All right. Well,
I mean, there's no sound, so I guess there's no real need for it.
oh, so I could have just played it myself.
Yeah.
So basically, there's some people think that this was inspired by Steph Curry, hypothetically pooping on the Cavs logo, but whether or not that's the inspiration. I also, doing some research, found out that Doug Baldwin did the kind of the same touchdown celebration at one point. He pretended to poop out a football. So there's it seems to be a hot celebration going on.
As hot as it is up in your studio right now?
It's probably hotter than it is up in my studio. It's apparently dropping a deuce for your celebrations is hotter than this fucking sauna I got going up here. So, in honor of that celebration, we've got the top 5 touchdown celebrations. Yeah, that's what we got going on this week. I'm going to play videos. I don't know how to play sound on them, but you guys can watch these videos and see how you like them, see if you don't like them. Number 5 is going to be Mr. Antonio Brown. Celebrating a little bit here.
I already don't like it.
You don't like it? You don't like Antonio Brown? So we got I'll give you a little play-by-play since I can listen. He's got a little punt return going on here. He's taking it to the house. He's pretty excited.
Apparently we can't watch it, though.
No.
What do you mean you can't watch it? It's not going?
You're not sharing it.
I am. Oh, I didn't share it yet.
Oh, keep your producing skills to your recap, please.
Jesus Christ. All right. Want me to share it now? Hey, there it is. Here we go with the top 5. Number 5. Got Antonio Brown making a punt return touchdown. There he is, breaking some ankles, taking him to the house. Nobody's going to catch him. Where's he going with this? He doesn't know. Right into the goalpost. Bam. All right. That's a great celebration. Why not?
What?
That's
number 5?
That's number 5. It only goes up from there, obviously.
It only can.
He didn't even do anything. He just ran right into the pole. All right. So there we go. Everybody know who Johnny Morton is? I don't. There he is. This Johnny Morton. He's gonna catch a pass here. It looks like Johnny Morton from probably not Alex Smith. That's a touchdown. What's he doing now? That's the worm, ladies and gentlemen. The worm. I don't know about the rest of you, but I sure as hell cannot pull that off. Have any of you guys tried to pull off the worm?
No. It looks more like the slug when I do it.
Yeah, no, I pretty much just lay there like a beached whale. Let's see, number 3. Oh, who is this? Corey, do you know who this person is?
Never heard of him.
Never heard of him?
No. Was he good?
No. What is this? What is he wearing right now? What the hell? Future Hall of Famer. And we still don't know because he's still not in the Hall of Fame, right?
Yeah, but it's still in the 20s at least.
So hopefully at some point he actually gets in there.
Was that
What? What were you
is
asking?
that the only celebration that makes it of his?
That's
Yeah,
why
I don't like
this
the-
list is insane
I
right
don't-
now.
I don't like the rest of his celebrations, honestly. His putting one, that was kind of dumb.
You don't like the river dance?
I'm gonna
The river
I'm gonna
dance,
let him finish.
I was gonna put the river dance on there, but I thought this one was funnier because he's still
Not
hasn't
gonna
made
make the Hall of Fame.
So he thought he was so full of himself that he thought he was gonna make.
You didn't like the proposal?
No, that one was dumb. That was dumb. So this one's a top one right here. We got a little Randy Moss action. One of the arguably best receivers of all time. Right here at old Lambeau Field. Randy, what are you doing? No, Randy, don't. Oh, my goodness. Randy Moss mooning the old Lambeau Leap area. I'm pretty sure they weren't too happy about that.
He got
Number
fined.
2. Yeah, he definitely got fined big time for that. And then we got my number 1. None other than Mr. T.O. Terrell Owens. This is probably my favorite of all time just because of...
The
Honestly,
aftermath?
I didn't even realize... Like, I remember him standing... Oh, we'll watch this. I remember part of this, but I didn't realize how many times this actually happened. So there's T.O. He scores a touchdown, and most people don't run towards the middle of the field like this, and he decides to stand on the Dallas Star and celebrate. Okay, T.O. Showboat a little bit. And a little while later, we got Emmitt Smith scoring his touchdown. Emmitt Smith says, you know what? Fuck you, T.O. It's my house. Don't come in my house and celebrate on my star. So Emmitt Smith comes down, says, fuck you, T.O. Have some of that. Is it over after that, though? No, not if you're T.O. T.O. decides to go back to the star for a second time. But nobody... Dallas is not having any of that. This just turns into an all-out brawl. Everybody just going after everybody. This is T.O. in all his glory right here. Like, he just doesn't give a fuck about anybody except for himself. That's by far my favorite celebration of T.O.'s.
I mean, you could have
Just-
done the popcorn toss.
The
The
sharp.
popcorn was good, but I think it's just what happened because of that touchdown celebration is just insane. Like,
What about the Sharpie? I mean, he knew he was going to get a touchdown that day. He brought a Sharpie side the football.
T.O. goes into every day thinking he's getting a touchdown. Are you kidding me? You think T.O. ever went into a day thinking, no, I'm probably not going to get a touchdown today?
What about Steve Smith when he's canoeing?
Yeah, that one was controversial.
All right, what about this one?
What one? Are you going to pull up one now?
Yeah.
This one already looks
Maybe.
terrible. Got the
Oh
damn
no, is
box
this the
on
Tampa Bay one?
there. Oh, Ezekiel. Oh, this
Oh.
one's. Oh, I don't like Ezekiel.
No, we don't like this
Not a
one.
big fan of it. Yeah. Definitely. See, this is why you don't have this segment, Kevin.
Donations went up for Salvation Army because of that.
Oh, so that's cool, but LeBron does the decision and donates a bunch
Mm-hmm.
of money to some kids. That's not cool, right?
Nope,
Okay.
it's not cool.
Glad we're on the same page.
Salvation
There you have
Army
it.
helps those sick kids find LeBron's place.
But here's the big question I have for you guys is
Oh boy,
they're talking. You know, they say they're gonna be more lenient with touchdown celebrations. Do we see a poop celebration being non-flagged, or was that something that you would see being flagged as part of the new rules?
It's gonna be flagged.
You think it would be flagged?
Absolutely. Why wouldn't it be?
I don't know.
I just think it's a natural human function. I think they're going to let it go.
I can't remember what the exact rules are, but I think they said that as long as it's not like excessively long, I think they said that you can celebrate with others, right? Because I know that was like a big thing that you weren't allowed to, like, you can only celebrate by yourself or something.
Yeah, I'm surprised they're letting others. Now we get whole team celebrations again, like leapfrog and stuff.
Yes. So
Grenade explosions.
Yeah, that one would be in my top 5, by the way. But
I was looking at solo celebrations, not team celebrations. I don't know. I think it's going to be interesting to see what's allowed and what isn't. I think. Who do you think is going to try to test the limits the most?
that's a good question. Odell Beckham, maybe. I'll go with Beckham. Because
I feel like they put all these limits on everybody, and like obviously everybody stopped doing that. Or like you had that period where like it was Randy Moss and T.O. and Ocho Cinco and Joe Horn, and like everybody was just doing like crazy celebrations, and then all of that obviously stopped because they kept throwing flags and fining everybody. So I'm wondering who's going to step up to the plate here and see what kind of crazy shit we can get.
I'm going to pick the highly controversial Jameis Winston.
Jameis Winston. Think he's going to bring out some crab legs or something?
Or stand on a kitchen table and yell "fucker" in the pussy. You know, one of the two.
He's been so good, though, since he's gotten the league. Why is he going to go and ruin that reputation already?
He hasn't, because as soon as he got drafted, he posted a picture with crab legs with a thumbs up.
That was just funny.
I must give credit to whoever's controlling him off the field, because he or she has done a fabulous job in making sure he keeps his focus on football and not off the field.
Right. I honestly didn't think he was going to last long. I thought that his off the field activities were going to catch up to him in the NFL and he would be gone. But he has done a pretty remarkable job of staying clean on that aspect, and he's playing pretty well. He might be. I'm not going to say anything more. Go ahead. I was going to say he might be a target for fantasy football if somebody lets him go.
Somebody lets him go. I just feel like, I don't know. We'll see. Now that he's got no leash on the field, maybe that off the field issues come to light on the field. Some kind of poor decision may come up celebration-wise. Terrell Owen-esque, maybe. Go throw the football in the middle of the star. Whoa.
Yeah, I don't know who's really creative with their touchdown celebrations anymore. I mean, Ezekiel Elliott there, that was pretty original. Maybe he tries to up the ante a little bit. We'll see.
I think Cam Newton's going to pull out a full-on Superman suit underneath his jersey when he gets one now.
A good possibility.
You wear the Superman socks.
Yeah. That's why I think Odell Beckham will be the guy. He wears the flashy shoes. He has the big personality. I think you'll see him.
Net.
It's usually wide receivers that get into all that. So
just tries to get in the fights with the net, and you know. All right. Before we leave, I wanted to show this clip that Stefan found from MMA fight this past weekend. I believe it was a glory fight. And I don't know if you saw this, Corey, but it's quite entertaining.
One of these two gentlemen, Grunhart or Gregorian, and it was Grunhart who won round one, according to all 5 judges. Oh my! Defend yourself at all times! Grunhart with a big right hand KO! We've got to fight the ring! People are attacking Bruno Grunhart! It's insanity! Gregorian is still out! One of these two.
So that was quite an interesting fight. I don't understand what that other fighter was doing, the one that got knocked out by the other fighter, because there was 2.5 minutes left in the round, I believe. Like,
Right.
why he just turned around and acted like nothing was happening is beyond me. I'm not too familiar with Glory. But
from what I read is that he turned away because he had a cut or something. But at the same time, like, you're not supposed to just like walk, like, not defend yourself in the middle of a fight. Like, he just like acted like it was just gonna stop. And even like the guy that got sucker punched there, which I don't really. I mean,
it's not a sucker punch.
I know it's not a sucker. It is a sucker punch, but it isn't. Like, it's a legal hit because there was no stoppage in the fight, so the fight was still continuing. But when somebody's not looking at you, yeah, that's kind of a sucker punch. I'm not saying that the punch was wrong. What he did was right, and even his own team said that. Yeah, like that, like. It was a sucky thing to do, but it was a legal hit, and like they're not upset about it. So, and I don't understand why fans were running in there to fight the guy. Like, they were like literally like trying to like beat this guy up because he did what he was supposed to do. That made no sense to me. I don't know why. I don't know how. I don't know. It's crazy how fans get so into some things where they feel like they have to take matters into their own hands and do something.
Can we just talk about the balls on the fan to jump an MMA fighter in the middle of a ring?
You wouldn't do that, Corey?
No, I wouldn't. Especially that guy. He looked kind of big. If he was like Demetrius Johnson, I might give it a whirl.
Yeah, that was fucking little midget ass bitch. I'd fight him straight up. I don't even need to jump him like that. Come at me, Mighty Mouse.
Mainly ending this show to protect Stefan from himself.
Side note, before we end, can we say go Crunch? We haven't talked about them at all, but they are down 3-2 in the Calder Cup Finals. Going back to Grand Rapids tomorrow night, I believe.
I thought they lost the series.
No, they lost Game 4 to go down 3-1, but then won Saturday night to be down 3-2. And they scored like 5 goals in the first period. And then they ended up winning 5-1 Saturday. So they didn't do anything after that. But they've got a chance. They win one more, make it interesting. In case anybody cares.
For those of you unfamiliar with the hockey world, that would be the AHL, one of many minor leagues in hockey.
Yeah, but this is like the minor league to get into the NHL.
There's 2 of them.
Okay.
Gonna end it on this awesome awkwardness from Steph. For Stefan, who's telling me I'm number 1, apparently.
Number 2, actually.
1 and number 2. Corey,
Kevin,
been a pleasure.
never a chore.
Always a chore for me.
Can't wait to see what you come up with for the best stuff. If you don't like watching the full podcast, you can watch Stefan's greatest creations, which in truth are his recaps. He's done the last 2, and they've both been very impressive. In fact, his editing skills got even better last recap, so I can't wait to see if he doubles that production.
I'm going to up the game a little bit more.
We tape live every Monday at 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific. I almost said Central. It's a big time gap.
I don't know where the hell you are.
Call us or text us at 425-780-6355. I do pay attention to the text line. I don't have any missed calls, so apparently no one calls anyway. So just go ahead and text us at that number. I've been your host, Kevin. Stefan. Can't wait for next week's Top 5.